Hello, Peggy Marcos, local real estate agent with HomeSmart Optima Realty. Just wanted to provide an update from my last video a couple weeks ago. Today is Monday, April 13th, so happy Monday. I know last time in my last video we were talking about a V-shaped recovery. As we all know, the economy is slowing down tremendously with 16 million people being on unemployment, so you can imagine what that would do to an economy. However, we are still projected, according to the major banks, which is like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're still all projecting a V-shaped recovery. The only concern is how long would it take us to get back up after, everything slows down even more than it is now. And another thing I wanted to talk about, so a recession and a housing crisis don't necessarily need to happen at the same time, or a recession doesn't cause that. If there's a housing crisis, a recession could be okay. There's many different economic factors in that. A recession is when 2 consecutive quarters there's an economic slowdown that's significant. So right now we're in the second quarter, we're in April, so obviously the first quarter is over. So the second quarter may not look too great, obviously, because this is now when we're still sheltering in place. The third quarter should look a little better, hopefully. At least that's what we're hoping for. And here's some facts. So we have 18 million people who filed for unemployment throughout the United States. So you can imagine what that would do to an economy. However, most jobs will be available, once the shelter in place is lifted. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. It may seem that a lot's going on, which it is. However, hopefully what we're projecting is that when the shelter in place orders are lifted, we should all be able to go back to work and as normal. Hopefully that's what we're, at least that's what we're hearing. The length of unemployment, that is another factor with economic slowdown. So in this case, it's projected to be temporary, as we all know, because again, once the shelter in place is lifted, we should be able to, go back to work, and economy will start boosting again, and people will start going out to eat as usual, and contributing to the economy more once things look more stable and get back to a sense of normalcy. So listings are down 27%. Well, we knew that because, some sellers who maybe had their house on the market, they're being apprehensive. They don't want people in their home. They're not very comfortable with virtual tours. Us as agents, real estate agents, are still conducting businesses as, much normalcy they can get as far as doing virtual open houses, virtual tours, doing FaceTime phone calls, anything we can. Some sellers just don't want to do that right now. So listings are down, I'm assuming, because of that major factor. Buyers right now are actually more scarce. Why? Well, you can't really get a loan if you're not working. So unless you were pre-approved prior to all this happening, you might be able to still get some buyers into the market to be able to keep boosting the real estate market. But a lot of buyers obviously are not going to probably follow through just yet, and they're waiting till this is all over. And there is a shortage of inventory right now, which we all know. So transactions are still occurring by the open houses that are virtual and virtual tours. Again, like I was saying, there are still transactions that are going on that are still pending funding, closing as well. New construction will suffer though, for the reason that developers usually go after first-time home buyers. That's usually their target market, and obviously right now first-time home buyers are going to be more scarce because, again, it's hard to get a loan when you don't have a job. So a lot of banks are not going to, do that. So wanted to share also a few statements that I found online. Hope you guys are all doing well and happy as well, and try to entertain yourselves at home as much as possible. Going back to the talk about recession, so many still bear scars from the Great Recession and may expect the housing market to follow a similar trajectory in response to the coronavirus outbreak, but there are still distinct differences that indicate the housing market may follow a much different path. While housing led the recession in 2008 and 2009, this time it may be poised to bring us out of it. Well, why is that? Because obviously when we have a lot of transactions, real estate, it will help boost the economy. Another fact, the housing sector enters this recession underbuilt rather than overbuilt. That means as the economy rebounds, which it will at some stage, which we all know, housing is set to help lead the way out. With the exception of 2 recessions, the Great Recession from 2007 and 2009 and the Gulf War recession from 1990 to 1991, no other recessions have impacted the U.S. housing market, according to Freddie Mac Home Price Index data collected from 1975 to 2018. And these are all facts. So again, we don't know what's going to happen with the market, but my job is right now just to inform everyone with the facts that I'm finding, to be able to make some sense of this, and to be able to maybe come to your own personal conclusion as to decision making and what's going to be best for you and your family's lives. So if you're currently listing a house, so this is for sellers, there is no need to panic discount. The prices are still stable today, so you don't want to be able to take a big hit on, giving a panic discount because you think it's not going to sell. Maybe you just want to wait a little while, or wait until you get the offer that you feel like you deserve or that you're looking for. So don't panic discount either. So mortgage companies are offering forbearance. There's been a lot of discussion about forbearance and a lot of discovery into it. So we all know with the forbearance, there's different ways it can go. There's a difference between forbearance and deferment. I am not a loan officer by all means, so I have to be very limited on how I discuss loans, obviously, and things going on with mortgage. But with forbearance, it will help you in the meanwhile. Some of the banks, the major banks, are giving you 6 months. However, keep in mind, you need to call your own lender. Don't go off what a friend says. Don't go off what Facebook says. Don't go off of what even I say, what anyone says. Call your individual bank to find out, is forbearance a good option for you and your family? Everyone's finances are different. At the end of forbearance, most banks are asking to pay all that you were past due until that point the forbearance is over. So those are things you have to call your bank, please. I can't urge that enough. How many people are just making assumptions based off internet? You don't do that with something like a home loan. So again, I encourage you to call your bank, describe your personal information and your situation to them, so that they can help you assess the best decision for you and your family's loan for your home. So again, back in 2007, 2008, 54% of people went into foreclosure because they never called their bank due to being embarrassed. So again, call your bank and let them know what's going on. Let them know your situation. So banks are still in good shape. We know that as well. Once the shelter in place is lifted, the housing market could help economy get back quickly. We already discussed that a few moments ago as well. Americans are going to want to do their part after this to help boost the economy. As Americans, we need to make sure that once the shelter in place is lifted, that we continue to, once of course we're financially sound and we feel it's safe and wise to, help contribute to the economy the best you can. And you can actually do that now. I've been talking a lot about trying to contribute to your local restaurants. Even now, just do the curbside pickup. Any way we could help everyone stay in business. Currently, 54% of unemployment comes from the food industry. So that's a very high number. So you can imagine how many people are being affected. The good news is what I found out from some of the investors that I follow, that currently the end of the year projections are showing a possible home value price gain. So that's some really good news that I found amongst a lot of things that are being discussed online right now. So think about how you can contribute in a positive way while sheltering in place. Again, going back to supporting our local businesses, support our economy in any way we can. Another thing, interest rates right now. So as of today, again, it's Monday, April 13th, interest rates for a 30-year are about 3.6 on average right now. On a 20-year, it's about 3.4. So we're seeing a lot of numbers in the threes. It might be for buyers, great time for you to get pre-approved. It doesn't mean that, because of the situation, you could tell them, hey, pre-approve me. I want to lock in the interest rate today and give me 6 to 8 months to be able to find a home. That way you lock that in. So getting pre-approved and talking to a banker, if you're really serious about buying a home right now, it might be something you really want to look into. VA loans, great rates. They're currently 3.3 as of this morning. And keep in mind, these rates change every day. We can't promise anything as agents or loan officers what's going to happen. We don't know. It's all backed by how the economy is and what the Fed is doing. So there's many factors that go into the the interest rates. So we want to make sure that if you're really serious about buying a home, talk to a loan officer, talk to the bank, see how long they can lock that interest rate in for. But if you are serious, again, you might want to lock it in and get an extension on how long you have to purchase the home. That way, obviously, you're not going to move right now if you're not comfortable to. However, you can through virtual tours and, getting, us as agents will, work the best we can and give you all the virtual tours we can as well, working with the sellers. So again, those are things you want to consider. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, or my cell number is also on here. I'll provide my contact information. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Sheltering in place going in on week 4. So keep busy, do some projects, and maybe some more puzzles if you can find any online. But I hope that you guys are all happy and as can be in the situation, and healthy as well. And please remember, when you go out, to be courteous with others, throw away your gloves in the trash, and also try to cover up in the grocery stores right now, as the CDC's recommendation as well. Okay, hope you guys take care and have a great week.